because it's important that they lift their reservation.
In order to receive the money, member states have to submit their reform plans by the end of April, with investments mainly needing to focus on the green and digital economies. Two-thirds of member states have already sent their plans to Brussels.
And what we can see so far is that all member states will easily meet these requirements, because this is also again what our people expect. Where we still see some, let's call it, room for improvement and maybe more ambition, is the necessary reform plans, which should complement
it's kind of like
the investment activities.
With Brussels having done its part, the ball is now in the court of member
playing
states.
with Play-Doh
Susanna
too.
Bus, Euronews Brussels.
Well, that's all we have time for on this edition of Euronews tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're leaving the
you're a little
comment from Iran.
more sophisticated than Play-Doh.
First day of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, as the country fights the region's deadliest coronavirus outbreak.
You object, huh? Not smart enough to see how stupid you are. I don't know how to learn that much dumbness. Learn how to be dumb. Learn how to be dumb. Sure you have. Well, people go where the food and the clan are. No clan, no food, no place to live.
The Arctic may seem half a world away, but global players are increasingly being drawn to the North Pole, which is one of the reasons why the European Union wants to be even more involved in the region.
They were hurting me.
The bloc has so far built its Arctic
Get away
policy
from
around
people who are
three
hurting
pillars: climate protection,
And
sustainable
if
development,
you can't, I'm sorry, I'm not going to understand.
but a new
I can't
dimension
learn
is
how to
needed:
be that dumb.
security.
They're hurting me, they're going to hurt me again. See, they did it once, they're going to do it again. Let's see, I can go without food, without a home, without a place to pee, hidden behind trees, sitting against a rock, or I can go and get hurt again. This way I can die peacefully. That way, it's what do you call it? It's
where
no,
major powers can cooperate
it's
to the benefit of the people, the environment,
paradox
and
of
in the end,
kind.
the whole world.
Hydrocarbons, rare earth metals, and new maritime routes made accessible by climate change are attracting all kinds of activity in the
Sorry,
Arctic.
but I'm not intelligent
China
enough to
is now
understand
entering the field
that kind of
with
thinking.
billions of euros in investment. It has, for example, the largest embassy in Iceland, which creates
Help me,
problems
God.
for the EU.
They're dumbing me again.
If the EU wants
You can't explain that kind
to
of
somehow
dumbness.
gain a role for itself, it has to now avoid being lumped together with China, which is being seen as a very aggressive non-Arctic entity. So China's way of trying to force
IS is
itself
to
into the region
analyze
has complicated matters for the EU.
biology forever and
Conference
ever.
of Arctic Region Parliamentarians
The
takes place
classes and
where cooperation is
families
high
and
on the
species
agenda.
and genuses
But if the EU is to compete
and all the
with US and Russia,
subcategories of
it will have to
plants.
target its actions
Affirm,
more
reaffirm,
effectively
affirm,
and
reaffirm,
understand that it can't
to the power of an
compete with
infinite number of
superpowers
infinities.
in every area.
When it comes to, I guess, what you would call low politics issues like environmental concerns or economic development, I think there's room for the EU to play a very constructive role if it's able to identify those areas where it can actually play a role. Climate change is very good. Is a very good example. But I think if the EU believes that it can gain the same status as the US,
I'm good in a
or
world
Russia,
like that.
then it will.
You have to have something to back you up and
pretty
some
significant
substance or something.
Brussels intends to launch further discussions to meet the new challenges of the
I'll
Arctic.
thrive in a world like
Crystal
that.
Peters, Euronews, Brussels.
Companies that don't want to make a profit Stuff like that. Not even for a tax write-off.
Good morning, Europe. Thank you for starting your day with us.
Hello, welcome to the program.
Companies that fire the smart people, place them with dumb people who are standing.
European perspective.
This is what protesters are denouncing.
With breaking news reported from the front lines.
I was embedded into the organization.
Well, who needs that?
Hear from the
Why would a
voices at the
company need
heart of
something
the
like that?
debate.
We need to respect our values. We've heard from the politicians, now it's your turn.
Get a different view on the stories that matter.
Provide a regular update on false information and debunking it.
Let's get you up to date with our top stories.
Oopsie, cancel. Now 19 minutes.
Hello, this is Euronews Tonight, and these are our top
I
stories.
don't have that.
Denmark becomes the first country in Europe to ditch AstraZeneca's
I've
COVID-19
said it
vaccine.
several times.
As
Nobody has time
concerns
for
grow
this
over
shit.
vaccines linked
People
to
work
rare blood
all
clots,
week,
the
men
EU
and
puts its
women.
faith in
They
Pfizer-BioNTech
come on the
with a
weekends
major
and
new contract.
you know,
We'll
it's
hear
this,
why
yeah, Jeannie
Afghanistan
Mo's crap.
security risks spiraling out of control following Joe Biden's decision to withdraw
Nobody
US
gets to be
troops.
informed because they're not
And a former policewoman has been charged with manslaughter
presented with
in the fatal
information
shooting of a black
at
man
times
in
that
Minneapolis.
they can use.
Denmark
Well, I don't
says it
know,
will
maybe.
immediately stop using AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine after reports of a possible link between the jab and the very rare cases of blood clots.
Well,
EU Commission
shouldn't it?
President Ursula
You know,
von der Leyen
for
says the bloc will now
keeping
focus
out
its supply on
3 Iranians or
mRNA
something,
vaccines such as Pfizer.
shouldn't we care about the
It's
military guys who
third
are,
contract with the
you know, shooting up their own military bases and
And
things?
Ursula von der Leyen made it clear that other ones may follow.
Well, let's see.
The European Commission bets on the mRNA
Could be like a,
technology
what do you
to
call
boost
it,
its
a,
vaccination campaign. A new agreement with Pfizer-BioNTech has just been reached to speed up the delivery of 15 million additional doses in the second quarter of 2021. A third contract with the pharma giant is also being negotiated for another 1.8 billion doses in 2022 and 2023.
I watched a couple of them
European Commission
off the
President
grid.
Ursula von der Leyen announced that not only the production of the vaccines, but also all essential components
That was
will be
pretty
based
interesting.
in the EU.
At a certain point in time,
Well,
we might need
wasn't that interesting? That wasn't that interesting.
and prolong immunity.
Well, I liked his
And
stuff in
if
trapping
an
and
escape
surviving and
variant
stuff.
occurs,
Eating
we will
and
need to
stew
develop
and all that
vaccines that are
kind of
adapted
stuff.
to the new escape variant.
Yeah, it
And
sounds
we
like
will
quite
need
a
them
battle
early and in sufficient
just to
quantities.
make it.
And having all
very
this in
little-
mind and having
what do you
learned
call
the
it?
lessons in this
To fall
pandemic,
back on.
we need to focus now on technologies that have proven their
Right.
worth. mRNA vaccines are a clear case.
Well, it's meat, so it's protein and
This
fat.
decision follows delays in the
stuff.
Johnson & Johnson vaccine delivery due to reports of rare blood clots, a side effect that also affects a small percentage of people receiving the AstraZeneca vaccine, a vaccine that is now reserved
forget.
for certain age groups and banned entirely in Denmark.
No.
Experts are afraid this could slow down the rollout in Europe.
I really fear
Yeah,
that this is going
Alaska
to delay things and increase public
I watched several
frustration
of
with
them.
what many believe is rather muddled through policies of the European Union, some going as far as to say it's mismanagement of the vaccine rollout. So this is not very good news, though it is reassuring. I have to say that, you know, Pfizer is being asked and they're in conversation with Pfizer to try and ramp up the production.
The European Commission
It was
insists
okay, it
that
was
the goal of
interesting.
vaccinating 70% of the population by summer is still feasible. Brian Carter for Euronews.
Jeffrey Lazarus is an associate
hour
research
19
professor at
minutes.
the Barcelona Institute for Global Health. He says Denmark made this decision because
public, not
they've
published.
supplies of other vaccines.
Good.
We have to remember the European Medicines Agency declared that the AstraZeneca vaccine is safe, but some countries, including Norway, earlier paused it. Now Denmark has decided not to use it because Denmark, Norway, other EU countries have other options for vaccines. As we heard, what it will do in Denmark is it will delay herd immunity from expecting everyone to have their first dose by June to probably after summer. So that has made a lot of people in Denmark, where I'm sitting now, not so happy. But Denmark I said, they've done their risk-benefit analysis. They don't feel that the risks outweigh the benefits.
It's just the way it is. I mean,
with low COVID-19 transmission, low rates of hospitalization, low mortality, so they decided to focus on the mRNA vaccines.
And nonetheless, this decision is going to cause enormous damage. Do you think AstraZeneca still has a role to play in the global fight against COVID-19?
I think AstraZeneca has a huge and essential, really a central role to play. I mean, as Europe has other options, remember Pfizer and Moderna require very low degrees of refrigeration that many lower income countries won't be able to handle. The logistics are complicated, so the EU will start using more of those vaccines, and that frees up AstraZeneca
why are you kicking that young woman?
for the rest of the world, where
Is
they
there a
don't
reason?
need that kind of
Must be money.
refrigeration, and also the cost is lower. And again, the EMA declared that this is a safe vaccine. So I hope the message
Try to learn how to read,
other countries around the world is that
and then you
this is
can.
a safe vaccine, but the EU, EU countries for various reasons have decided to focus on other vaccines.
But isn't there
No,
a risk
they're
now
complicated.
that we're creating, or by these decisions, that there's going to be created a 2 or even a 3-tier system?
Yeah, we all
where,
fuck.
it seems as if people in Europe can afford the richer ones, which do longer, but if you can't, it's this kind of like buy cheap, pay
Yeah,
twice.
smart people.
I understand that, but still, I would beg to differ. I mean, this is an approved vaccine. 34 million Europeans or more now have been vaccinated with it in the UK and in the European Union, and many of the countries are continuing with it. So Denmark's a small country; they've decided not to use it. Other countries, like the UK, have decided those over 30s.
You're not welcome here.
60 to 70
And
year
you're
olds.
raping
Different countries
me.
have taken different decisions.
And I just want you to
It hasn't
know
been a
that
uniform
I don't like it.
right now to reject use of the AstraZeneca.
As far as I know, you have no rights at all. I don't want a right to rape me. And I do have rights to privacy.
A handful of recipients of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in the United States. Sweden says it will pause plans to start using the jab until it gets a report from the bloc's regulator, while Poland, Hungary and France all say they're ready and willing to administer their doses. Now, our reporter
Probably traveled a lot.
Paris, and he says that authorities there are keen to ramp up vaccinations.
The French health authorities have been stressing that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine's been approved by the European Medicines Agency, and that the risk of those severe blood clots you mentioned is very, very small, and so the benefits far outweigh the risks. And that's essentially the message that we've been hearing from the French authorities about the AstraZeneca vaccine too. So France is continuing with both of these vaccines, although I think the news that Denmark is halting AstraZeneca is likely to further increase the reluctance of many people in France to have that vaccine, and the news about Johnson & Johnson may also do that. But the French health authorities are really stressing that vaccination is the only way forward now. And I mean, after a painfully slow start to its vaccine rollout, France is really now accelerating, and vaccinations are being done at pharmacies like the one behind me, as well as vaccination centres and by GPs. So France really wants to start turning the corner on vaccinations very soon.
Yeah, do you get the stupidity? It's like you need a PhD in stupidity to
Joe
understand
Biden
it.
says it's time to end America's longest war as NATO allies weigh plans to withdraw troops from Afghanistan. The US president intends to pull US forces out of the country by September the 11th, the 20th anniversary of terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and Washington.
Lost your
His
whole
allies appear to be on the same
thoracic
page, with
cavity.
Germany's defense minister telling local media, "We go in together and we go out together."
Yeah.
Well, Bradley Bowman is a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. He thinks a troop withdrawal is a bad idea.
I'll be honest, I think this is a short-sighted
Well, it's got Sydney and
administration. You know, as your correspondent said, we have roughly 2,500 to 3,500 U.S. troops in Afghanistan, more than double that number of NATO partners there. The purpose, why are they there? They're there because, of course, the 9/11 attacks were planned and launched from Afghanistan. They've been there to prevent
Alright, lay off.
again for 20 20 years they've effectively done that. By withdrawing these troops on a timeline-based, conditions-ignoring
Nobody's probably infusing
approach that
cash for
ignores
the
the
Haitian
advice of
people
military commanders, we're going to relieve pressure on terrorists
into the Haitian people communities.
to plot attacks against us. So I hope I'm wrong, but I believe this is a mistake that will come to regret. And,
So,
That
regular.
matter of years, unfortunately, after Afghanistan, very additional stuff.
The sound, unfortunately, on you isn't that great, but we're going to persist because
Former
it is
prisoners
an
in
extremely
England.
important subject. What message do you think this
I don't know
sends
anything
out
about the
from
founding of
United
New
States?
Zealand.
What would you have Joe Biden do?
I would have President Biden reverse course.
Well,
He's about to make the same mistake
Australia would be
the Obama
another of the
administration made
oceans,
in
right?
Iraq in 2011. They did the exact same
I'll
thing.
have
They
to
did
look
the
at it again.
timeline-based, conditions ignoring withdrawal in Iraq in 2011, contrary to the advice.
India. I don't
And
even
as a
know where the
result,
water is around India.
we saw the rise of ISIS,
Indian
ultimately
Ocean.
the ISIS caliphate, and American troops had to
Arctic?
go back. We're going to see the exact same thing in Afghanistan if it that thing.
I think Afghanistan today is a better place than it was when America and the Allies moved in 20 years ago.
There's no question. Ask girls who are attending, ask
reached
thousands of girls attending schools, ask the women who are not being put in soccer stadiums and being stoned to death by the Taliban. There's unquestionably a better place. Not perfect.
Well, I feel like I'm
serious problems. The Taliban
dealing with
controls a lot of
kindergartners
territories,
too.
especially rural territories. Much to criticize. But the question is not whether we're tired of the conflict. The question is what is necessary to secure our interests. And I give the Biden administration credit. They're admitting that they're ignoring conditions on the ground. That violence
We're a
levels
disposal
are not down. They
system.
have not broken with Al Qaeda. Bin Laden predicted this years ago. He said we can defeat the United States. We the
Whatever God wants. If He wants to give me little dribbles every day or once a week or something, I'll take it. I'm comfortable. My house is clean.
We're about to provide a major talking point for terrorist groups around the world that they will use to recruit and radicalize
I really
terrorists,
appreciate
and
the
that will
help. I
affect,
really do.
unfortunately, all of us